In this section, we will talk about multiplication and division of real numbers. Let's start with multiplication. Here are the rules for multiplying real numbers. A positive number times a positive number yields another positive number. A negative number times a negative number yields a positive number. A positive number times a negative number, or a negative times a positive, the order doesn't matter, yields a negative number, regardless of which number has the larger absolute value. Here are some examples. Let's take negative 8 times 2 times negative 1 times negative 3. Going left to right, negative 8 times 2 is negative 16. Let's bring down the negative 1 times negative 3. We have a negative times a positive. That'll give us a negative number. Negative 16 times negative 1, when you have a negative times a negative, this will give us a positive 16. And a positive number times a negative number will always be a negative number. So 16 times negative 3 will be negative 48. So negative 8 times 2 times negative 1 times negative 3 equals to negative 48. Be careful to always go left to right and multiply two numbers at a time. Next example, we have 5.8 times negative 10 times 0. So going left to right, 5.8 times negative 10 will be negative 58. You have a positive times a negative. Multiply that by 0. Now, any number multiplied by 0, regardless of what the number is, will always equal to 0. So 5.8 times negative 10 times 0 will be 0. Now, I don't even have to multiply 5.8 times negative 10, because I know as long as I'm multiplying by 0, my result will be 0. Here's another example. We have 8 over 15 times negative 9 over 10. Now, first, let's cross-cancel what we can. 8 and 10, they have a common factor of 2. So 2 goes into 8 4 times, and 2 goes into 10 5 times. 9 and 15 have a common factor of 3. 3 goes into 9 3 times, and 3 goes into 15 5 times. Recall that in multiplication, we do not need a common denominator as we do in addition and subtraction. In multiplication, we simply multiply the numerators and multiply the denominators. So 4 times 3 will give us a 12, but notice we have a negative, so a positive times a negative will make the entire answer negative. 4 times 3 is 12. We have a positive times a negative, so the answer will be negative. 5 times 5 is 25, so our answer will be negative 12 over 25. Let's talk about dividing real numbers. Similar to multiplication, a positive divided by a positive is a positive. A negative divided by negative is also a positive. And a positive divided by negative or negative divided by a positive is a negative. Here's an example. We have 180 divided by negative 9. If you divide 180 by 9, the answer is 20. However, because we're dividing a positive by a negative, the answer will be negative 20. Another example. We have negative 120 divided by negative 6. 120 divided by 6 will be 20 again. And a negative divided by negative is positive, so our answer will be positive 20. Division involving 0. If any number is being divided by 0, the answer is undefined. One way I remember this is if the 0 is under the fraction, notice that under and undefined have the same 4 starting letters. So if the 0 is under the fraction, then the result is undefined. If the 0 is on the numerator, if the 0 is being divided by any number that's not 0, then the answer is going to be 0. For example, negative 9 divided by 0, because we're dividing by 0, in other words, the 0 is under the denominator, under the fraction, then this will be undefined. In the next example, 0 divided by 5.79, if the 0 is on the numerator or above the fraction, then the answer will be 0.